Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host. I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and book recommendations. Now let's begin. Today I'm reviewing Heavenly Bodies, written by Emani Erriu and narrated by Jane Collingwood. We follow Alara. She is a princess who has been cursed by a prophecy and to fall for the King of Stars, but it will kill them both. The stars are basically these beings that have human bodies incarnate. The legend goes that when the stars fell to the earth, they gave a drop of their magic, drop of their powers to the humans in the different countries that they inhabit. Each star has their country that they control, and they're terrifying and they're powerful, they're cruel, they're merciless. And Alara's star host person, she's been asleep for a very long time. So each star is technically supposed to protect their country from the other stars from attacking. However, because Alara's country's star is asleep, this doesn't protect them when Ariette, the star of wrath, war, and chaos, hears about this prophecy. She's supposed to fall for the King of Stars, and Ariette is the self-proclaimed King of the Stars. He hears about this, and he decides at the ball for her birthday, he hears about this prophecy, and he goes to her kingdom and just does this mass slaughter, killing her parents. And it's just a bad situation. And so she runs away. She's sent away, basically, and she gets kidnapped. We don't know by whom at first, but she gets kidnapped, and we find out that she's being taken to her enemy, and because her land is the land of darkness, she has shadow magic. She's taken to the royal family of Helios, and she's supposed to train with Prince Lorenzo. He has all this sun magic, and he is known as the Lion of Helios because he has all this different magic. And of course, both of them have all three sets of their magic. I really enjoyed the magic system world building that Emani created with this, because everyone has some form of magic, and in each country there are generally 3 different types of magic that you can have. And our main characters, Alara and Lorenzo, they have all 3 types in both of them, which makes them extremely rare. It's not something that only happens with like royals or anything like that. It's something that happens with some people, and there's really no explanation for why it happens with some people. So of course it's darkness and shadow magic versus light magic, sun magic, all that. And it's very slow burn, enemies to friends to lovers. And what I really like is that throughout the book, it takes a very long time for them to even get close to even semi-liking each other. Like they could have killed each other throughout the book. And there's a couple of times where they almost did, but it just stopped right before that killing blow. So unfortunately, Alara, she doesn't have access to all 3 types of her magic. Because of this prophecy, her parents had kind of basically kept her locked away and hidden from society because they were afraid that people would hear about this, that she would attract unwanted attention, and it was just a very bad situation. And unfortunately, it got out, and Ariette had heard about it, and it wasn't supposed to happen that he would have even dared to attack anyway, but because their star has been sleeping for a very long time, that's why he even dared to attack in the first place. Otherwise, it would have started a war amongst the stars. So we get most of the book is them training together, and it's very butting heads because neither of them want to be trained. She doesn't doesn't even want to be there. But Lorenzo's father is very much like, you are going to be my weapon, because for whatever reason, Ariette, he wanted to kill her because he didn't like the fact that this prophecy was about her being the downfall to him. And so he wanted to kill her. But unfortunately, she couldn't die. We find out, we still don't know why. Even at the end of the book, like, we get a reason why, but I don't like the implication of why. And I'm going to sort of hint at it, but I'm not going to give a spoiler as to what the big reveal is at the very end, even though it grinded my gears a little bit. But I'm going to do my best to not be too spoilery, but I'm going to talk about what kind of bugged me about the way that this happened at the end. But because she wasn't able to be killed by a star, she's extra special with this because she is going to be trained to be a weapon. And we get this very clear idea of how the king, Lorenzo's father, is very much just he's not a good man. He is a very bad man. And we get more hints of this throughout the book until the very end, when we find out the truth of the matter of how far he was willing to go to take down the stars, because they're just not good beings. They are merciless and they are cruel. Throughout the book, we get a nice slow burn of them hating each other and slowly starting to actually like each other, and eventually just a bit of a trigger warning, though. There is some torture involved. There's mental torture involved, and blood and death and more torture. We get to see that in the book later on, because Alara, she finds out about her best friend still being alive back there, and she decides to go back because her fiance that she thought she was going to be married to is crowned king. She's pissed, rightfully so, because he stole her throne from her, and he was going to go to have a party and ball for it. And so she's going back to rescue her best friend. Her best friend was killed. Spoiler, sorry. But there is torture involved because she is kept captive by Ariette, and they're trying to figure out, because Lorenzo goes with her, of course, back to the castle, and they're trying to figure out who came with her, and they're just trying to like break her down, break her spirits, and just trying to figure out all of her secrets, all of everything that's going on with her. Luckily, they're unable to do that. And it's just a very, very bad situation. Bad vibes all around. It's just cruel, merciless, just evil, icky stuff. But throughout the majority of the book, at least, we get some good times, some bad times. There are some things that I kind of grinded my gears just a little bit with the book, and I'll get to that in a moment. But for the most part, I thought it was thoroughly enjoyable because I really liked the magic system that she was delving into, and I liked the way that we were kind of looking into it. The explanation for why it is that we have such separation between these peoples. It kind of was a little stupid, but well, not stupid, but it makes sense in the book as to what was going on. But at the same time, it was kind of like, has no one ever done anything like this before? Really? Like, has no one ever tried to combine their magic before? Is it what can we really expect that Lorenzo and Alara are the only two people to have ever combined their magic before? Like, it just, see, that's the thing. It makes sense, but on a flimsy level. And I'm hoping we get a little bit more of a deeper dive into this later on in the second book. I'm kind of hoping that we get better explanations for some of this stuff that we kind of learned a little bit about in this book. In the first book, like, maybe we're going to get more explanations, better explanations in the second book. That's what I'm hoping for. But there's definitely some things that just cause tiny little eye twitches. Mainly that, like, at the beginning of the book, because her kingdom is full of darkness, it's going to be a little chillier, so she's wearing woolen dresses. When she first arrives, she's used to more coverage. She used to thick woolen dresses. And in this new country, in this new kingdom, it's Helios, so full of sun, full of light. And they wear more revealing clothes. And so part of what's going on with this is they don't want this getting back to Ariette that she's there. So one of the ladies in the court that's there, she knows her magic is how to disguise people, how to change the way people look. So she's under orders to disguise Alara, and luckily they do become they do become good friends. We learn more about her later on in the book and who she really is and everything, but we learn more about all this later on with the different magic about some of the other kingdoms, and it kind of gets a little bit stereotypical in a way, but also like it kind of makes sense, but what do I know? And it's just all in all very interesting. But it just kind of had a little bit of an eye twitch because in Helios they wear more revealing clothes, more silken clothes, and she gets upset because her first outfit is this silken, like this skirt, and then this midriff bearing shirt, this midriff bearing top, and she's like, oh, my breasts aren't even going to fit in this. What the heck? And she's told this blouse that will reveal her midriff and will barely cover her breasts. And so she's told that they believe and they're looking for comfort as well as style. But then later on the next morning, she's put into this linen outfit, and it's never really mentioned again any of her discomfort, any of her concerns. She really embraces, she seems like it's never really mentioned because her friend tells her, oh, you'll get used to this. You'll become used to this comfort because it's like more about this comfort style with these clothes and everything, but it's never really mentioned that she's going to become accustomed to it. And it's like, oh, my friend was right. I am more accustomed to this. Like, she made a point of mentioning how different these clothes are compared to her clothes back home. Maybe it was mentioned and it just kind of never really made it to my noggin throughout the book. I don't know. Marissa, her new friend, it's just never, like, I don't know. It's just something about that just kind of like, I mean, it makes sense if she's used to wearing thick woolen dresses that are more coverage, but it's like, okay, so in Helios they're wearing more revealing clothes, but you would have thought that maybe throughout the thing there would have been, I don't know, like, did we really need to have a mention of my breasts aren't even going to fit in this? Like, did we really need that? Like, really? But what do I know? What do I know nothing. I mean, it's a non-issue. It's a little issue. It's a non-starter. And it's not something to really nitpick at. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just the fact that it was never brought up really ever again. And it would have been nice if we got just a little sentence later on with the linen for her training. Like, she mentioned, like, there was a point of mentioning that the linen outfits are appropriate for training, but there's really never any mention of what the training outfit looks like. But we get specific details about certain other dresses, like how revealing the back is of some of these other dresses, things like that. And there's never really any mention of her discomfort in them or her realizing just how comfortable it is, like there are some mentions of her concerns regarding wearing underwear or not wearing underwear in them, but just something a little bit more about how comfortable she is in it and how she appreciates the difference in clothes. Like, just I don't know, just a little sentence. That's all. The other thing to me that was weird is how in the beginning of the book we find out that one of Lorenzo's magics is that he is able to look in people's minds to learn their secrets. He's able to, like, because of the light magic. That's their whole thing in Helios is light versus shadows. And he gets so pissed at the beginning that she is hiding away her emotions in this box. And he's trying to get at all of her secrets because she's able to use these three magics, but because of past trauma, she can't access all three of them. And in order to train her, she needs to be able to use all three of them. And he is just so irritated with her because she's not answering his questions. She's like, I can't answer this. I don't want to answer this. It was a traumatic experience. And she's not answering. What is his answer for this? He puts her on a horse. He gets up behind her. And they go riding off into the distance outside of the kingdom. And he practically makes them go into forced suicide off a cliff into the ocean. Like, he's willing to kill them both to get her to answer this question. And it's like, I get it. He hates her. He doesn't want to do this. And the way that he thinks that this is going to work is to force her and just be a real asshole. And this is near the beginning of the book, and when they absolutely hate each other. And I understand that, but it's just like, did we really need to do this? Especially since later on they were training, and she's trying to learn how to throw out her shadows to control her shadows, because she is able to explain what happened, but she's still not able to control them. And she thinks that the way to do that is for her to almost die. So she's telling him, like, I want to die. I need to feel like I'm going to die. Like, I need you to practically kill me. He's kind of trying to fight her, but he's not really doing it. And she knows that he's not really doing it. So she's like, okay, I know you're not really going to do it. So I'm not really feeling like I don't really feel like I'm in mortal peril. So she goes straight for the jugular and talks about how his mom was killed by her parents. And it was just like, okay, so we're just going straight for the jugular here, but it makes sense. But then she could have killed him, but then something stopped her. It was just like, okay, fine. The last thing I'm hoping we don't go the direction that I fear we're going to go in. And I'm going to do my best to not give a spoiler about what the huge reveal is, because it's a huge reveal. At the end of the book, we get this huge reveal about who they really are. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say who they really are. I'm not going to give any reveals there, because it is a huge major spoiler. And I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to try to be good. Be good about that. But the thing that was weird to me is, like, okay, there's almost a moment where it sounded like Ariette kind of had a feeling himself that he knew, because Marissa stabbed her with her own knife, because they created a shadow blade. They created a blade made of both shadow magic and light magic, and that's what they felt would be the best thing to kill Ariette. Naturally, they don't kill Ariette. Of course, we have to wait till the sequel, I hope, or however many books are going to be in this series. I don't know. But it naturally didn't happen right now. That's a spoiler I don't mind giving. He doesn't die, of course, naturally. But she gets stabbed in the back, and Arya's like, how could you do this? And we get the big reveal of what is going on. And it sounds like, did he know? Because the whole thing was that the stars weren't supposed to know what was going on. And it's like, okay, did he know or did he not know? Because Alara wasn't supposed to be killed. But then the thing is that also Lorenzo's the same thing as Alara as the big reveal. I'm trying my best to not give the big spoilers, and I apologize if this seems spoilery, but I'm feeling a little annoyed, to be honest, with the fact that Alara as a human couldn't be killed by a star. She, in this moment when this big reveal happens of who she really is, but then Lorenzo, we find out that he is the same type as Alara, but because he is a human, he was able to be killed. But then there we go into this whole constant reincarnation thing that was going on for them. And it was just like, okay, so why is it that, do we have any explanation? Are we going to go into any sort of explanation for why now for her this time and not him? That is like, and maybe this is me being overly complicating myself and overthinking it. I don't know, but it's just not satisfying. And I worry that I worry that it's a bit of a author waving her magic pen. I mean, overall, because she did such an amazing job building up this magic system, and what she did at the end just felt very wand wavy. I mean, what she did made some sense with what she did at the end in certain senses, because I'm trying not to spoil things, but it still felt a little other waving her magic pen to save the day in a way. That's all I'm going to say about it. And it's feeling unsatisfactory in a way there, but I'm hoping that in the second book, we learn more about what happened in the past, what happened before with all of that, and maybe we get a better magic answer than just poof, strong arm, like just brute force, because right now it's just brute force, and that's very unsatisfactory. I don't like that, but that's just me. But other than that, other than those 3 complaints, 2 of them are really non-starter complaints that really just made sense in the book for what was going on. They made sense. I mean, and they really weren't really that much of a complaint. It was just me being nitpicky and me just being just me being. But the last one I feel like is a real complaint and a genuine concern. But if you read the book, please let me know if you haven't read the book. And I hope these complaints and concerns made, I hope, a little bit of sense. But overall, I thought that it was a really fun book, and I really liked the narrator. She did a wonderful job. My only complaint with the narrator is that it seemed like all the men had the same raspy voice, and I know that's harder to do with male voices to distinguish between the men, but she did a great job of distinguishing between the women. That was good. And she did do a good job of distinguishing between the men with the different levels of raspiness, but it just seemed like they all had the same level of like raspiness, if that makes any sense at all. And I thought that was kind of funny, but she did a good job, and it was a very enjoyable listen, and I am very excited about the second book coming out, which should be in the fall. So I will definitely be reading that and listening to it. Hopefully it'll be coming out in Audible audiobook at around the same time. But hopefully we get some more answers, and I will catch you cuddlebugs next time. Take care, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.